The spy, he walked into the room and picked up his mother's lipstick, new lipstick. He was about to apply it when his mother walked into the room. She was startled. He was even more startled. What are you doing with my lipstick? Relax, Mom. Relax, Mom. I have a production in the evening, and if my throat goes on like this, even your lipstick won't help. With that, he quickly shot out of the room because he knew his mother knew him well enough to know he was fudging. He had actually been incorporated into the Secret Service a very short time ago. And he was, as they say, a spy for the country. This time he had been asked to play the role of a female reporter. And for that, he was trying to disguise his lips, which were blackened by cigarette smoking. He was supposed to be spying and looking after a lady named Rihanna. Rihanna was a spy from the neighboring country, and she had stolen secrets from his country. These secrets were on the missiles of India, and they were coded in French. He now was to play the role of a female reporter. He did a ploy. He had a senior reporter by the name of Vijaya accompany him to go and interview Rihanna. So on the allotted day, he and Vijaya went to the place where Rihanna would be. Vijaya began the interview. She began it on a very warm note. She began asking Rihanna about her childhood, about her schooling, about her travels. And Rihanna got very comfortable. She was a very magnetic lady who was widely traveled, who had a great command on the language, and who knew what she was talking about. Now, in the middle of the interview, on a pre-arranged cue, Vijaya left the room after she received a phone call. And Rohit, that is Aditi, he was disguised as Aditi, took over. Now, a lot had been done to make Rohit look like Aditi. He had been given some medicines by which his facial hair were lessened. His voice was made to drop a pitch or two, so he sounded so-called feminine. They began talking, and slowly he began to ask her about the missiles. He asked her indirect questions about the missiles. She played along, absolutely innocently answering all the questions as though she had no idea. In the middle, she named one part of the missile which nobody else but the people working on the missile knew, and of course, she, the spy, Rihanna, knew. So he was thrilled. And all this was caught on the dictaphone, a recording machine, which was filming her and which was recording her. But he could not do anything right now. Once the interview was over, Rihanna invited Aditi over for lunch. Now Aditi accepted. They sat together for almost half an hour. And Rihanna regaled Aditi about her childhood, about her travels, about the languages that she knew. Now, before this happened, Aditi had gotten up and done this and stretched out her legs wide in a very typically non-feminine fashion, if you will permit me the cliche. Rihanna had noticed this. And while they were talking, Aditi did something else. She said, "Could I have a cigarette, please?" Then she recoiled for just a minute, because the female of the species technically might be smoking a little lesser than the males. But she kept quiet after that. And Rihanna got her the best cigarette in town, and then talked for 15 minutes on good quality cigarettes, showing her wide expanse of knowledge. The afternoon is over. It's evening time now. The Secret Service swoops down on Rihanna and arrests her because of that part of the missile she's talked about on the dictaphone. She is arrested. And there's a hue and cry from the neighboring country because after all, she is their diplomat. They call Rohit in to interrogate her. When Rohit breezes into the room, she doesn't recognize him as Aditi. So the interrogation begins. At one point, he begins talking to her in French, but she looks totally blank. And a day before, she has spoken beautifully in French. So he's a little taken back. He asks her, "Do you know French?" She gives him a blank look because he's asked her in French. Thereafter, the conversation continues, and he tries to get something out of her. He's tired. He gets up and he repeats the gesture which Aditi had done a day before. Recognition comes in the flash of an eye in Rehana's eyes, and she is almost spitting venom because she realizes she's being duped. This is Aditi. This is Rohit. But she can't show anything. Now Rohit is tired. He picks up the phone and talks in French and says, "I think the hanging of this diplomat could be done. The camera is recording Aditi. The dictaphone is on. Not an expression on Aditi's face. Not Aditi's face, and no expression on Rehana's face." Now Rohit begins to slump in his seat because he's dejected. He's not able to corner her. He starts talking to her and receives a phone call in between, which is from the diplomat of the neighboring country, who goes absolutely annoyed with us for capturing their diplomat. Rohit slumps lower and lower in his seat, and he seems to be forgetting what to do. Rehana swells up with pride. She doesn't realize what's going on. And then he says 3 golden words. She gets up and she starts walking towards the door. And in the middle, she stops and spits venom because she's been caught. How is that? He had said 3 words. Vous êtes libre. You are free. But he said them in French. And she recognized those words. She got up and she was about to go for the door. And that is the time the Secret Service pinned her down. Just as they were about to take her, Rohit smiled very magnanimously at her and said, "Cigarette?" Over to the Toastmaster of the day.